Hey, welcome to Waking Up to Win.
I'm Annie.
And I'm Chad.
And this is your space for real estate motivation, mindset, and the kind of coaching that pushes you from stuck to a top producer.
We are all about helping agents work on their business, not just run ragged in it.
And we believe there is more than enough room at the top for everyone to win.
Let's dive in.
Hello.
Hello. How are you today?
Great. Getting ready for the storms. I know. You're going to tell me this will be next week, so it'll be too late. We may or may not be here next week.
We'll see. Don't know why she insists on talking about the weather on the podcast. Like anybody watching it is going to experience
because it's at the top of my mind right now.
You're not live newscasting.
Maybe I should be. Can we just do this
to
live?
Be a weather girl. You want to leave real estate and go into what weather?
No, because they're like really young and. Do you ever see them weather girls?
Well, I mean, I think that's the old way to do it. But yeah, most of the weather people I see now are like 20-something-year-old homos. But maybe that's just...
Okay, well, I'm not that either.
You know, I don't know.
I don't think there's a demographic for this in weather.
Oh, I think there's a demographic for that in whatever you want there to be a demographic for that in.
I would be a good storm chaser.
I've always wanted to do that too.
No, I would not be good at that. I'm lying.
Oh, you're panicky.
Panicky.
Yeah.
I'm in the basement.
No, I'm the one that's standing on the porch watching it roll in.
I have a go bag. I do.
I don't doubt it for 1 second.
And last week there were storms, and I was at the hotel for a dance competition, and my husband calls me and goes, "There's no power. Where are those lights that you have? I go, "Oh, you all want my stuff that you make fun of all the time."
Dear God.
So
these earrings are driving me crazy today.
Let me take them off.
I know, but so I was getting ready this morning, and they have different backs on them than most of my earrings do. And I couldn't get it in for the life of me. I was at 5 minutes. I tried to put the stupid back on the earring. I had to have my husband do it. So
they'd be new earrings.
I'm not taking them off. That's just the end of it. If I take them off, they're not going back in. Huh?
They're not comfortable with these.
Usually it doesn't bother me. Studs. I don't usually wear hoops on whatever
podcast day.
Yeah, podcast day. Sorry, I forgot to. I don't know why I'm on Do Not Disturb and I'm still getting messages on my wrist. That's annoying. Go ahead. What you got? What you got?
Is it me? It is. Yeah.
It is you. Yeah.
It's not really an affirmation. It's just something that we talked about this weekend at church, and I thought it's been playing in my mind over and over, and how it relates to us. It is that saying that is, "You are the 5 people you hang out with."
Yeah.
And so, I started really thinking about that, and thinking about it in terms of this office and our agents, and what great energy and momentum the agents that come here on a regular basis have. And it really does. You are those 5 people. Kind of looking at that in every area of my life. And who are those board of directors? Who are the people whose voice is in your head all the time, or who in your ear? So, if you're hanging around crabby people, you're probably going to be crabby. If you hang around energetic people, you probably have a lot of energy. Hang around smart people, you get smarter. We pick up the habits, and I was looking at that even as I look around the office at how when you start talking to them, how they all start saying the same things, or they all start doing the same things. So you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with.
It's true in controlling that. I love those studies that they do, and I don't know whether you've ever seen that, but like the videos where they put cameras in the room and then they put people in a room, but there's one person that's a paid actor and they do something random. Like it's usually like there's a bell, and every time the bell goes off, that person stands up for 5 seconds and then sits back down or whatever, and they'll bring 50, 100, 300 people into a room, and if you leave them all in the room long enough, and they're told they're waiting for an interview or whatever, if you leave them all in the room long enough, that one person eventually, the entire room is doing the same thing when the bell goes off, which is, and it's usually not the entire room. There's usually a small percentage that like
it's fascinating
rebels, but It is fascinating.
Well, you watch a group of whatever, you could do any industry, but if you walk in the office every day and that one person, you and I always used to say it about a certain person, that they suck the energy out. One person can change the mood of an entire room of happy people.
No, it's true.
One crab ass comes in and all of a sudden, it changes.
Right. And then as a leader, if you're leading real estate agents, it's important to pay attention to that. Who is the source of the energy, if you will. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And the other thing that I was reading about it yesterday as I was watching videos to go down the rabbit hole was that so many of us try to change the behavior of the people rather than change the room. And sometimes it is just time for you to move on. Sometimes you outgrow your own board of directors, especially teenagers. You can go all the way back, but at what point you don't always want to be the smartest in the room or the richest in the room. You want to find someone who's doing what you're doing or what you want to do,
right?
And go get in the room.
Or doing what you enjoy doing, yeah.
So,
but yeah,
that was it.
Well, that's a good thought. Check your friends. Make sure they're going.
Check your board of directors.
Make sure they're going in the right direction. And I think that's important to say. Like, it is your friends more so, because I think people don't realize. You have work, and sometimes in real estate, those two things get. It's
probably
hard,
in a lot of
hard
industries,
to keep balanced, but even more so in a sales industry, like it probably is just sales in general, right? Those two things, work and life, friends and family, they get kind of commingled, and sometimes it's hard to tell who's a friend and who's not a friend. And so, it makes me think of, like, there was several years back that I was like, oh, these people are not my friends. They're acquaintances.
I remember when you had that,
which is an important distinction when you're thinking about the makeup of your social circle.
And I think that was under that, I don't know, pretense. You were talking about people who want the best for you,
right?
Are your friends. Acquaintances, that's not there.
Yeah, they don't think about you typically outside of
Right.
whatever.
When you show up in the room, they're like, "Oh
in.
yeah, you're here."
Right,
Hi,
and
I'll
you
be nice
belong
to you.
in this
Right.
realm, right? Where,
but they're not like, "Hey, I really want to make right."
Right. Like, and they wouldn't show up outside of that realm of whatever thing they are.
And until you realize that, your feelings can get hurt a lot.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because you're thinking, I thought they were my friend.
Right. Well, and I see a lot of real estate agents thinking their clients are their friends. And
True.
I'm like, and we preach that, which we should, because that's how you provide good service, right? Which is part of sales and all of that is you should treat them like they're your best friend.
Yeah.
But they're not.
Yeah.
And that's hard to remember sometimes. So, yeah, check
I
your
know.
circle.
You're hanging out with them
Keep
every
your circle
weekend, and then
tight.
you find them a house, and they never call you anymore.
I know, it's so rude. Like, what the hell? I thought we were besties.
I know. I thought you liked hanging out with me.
Yeah. Anyways, that's a good thought. Good one.
And now you know.
Friendly reminder for realtors that I know sometimes, first of all, this business is like, right? And we go back and forth sometimes in a day from we're the richest people in the world with so much success and yada, yada, yada to, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to buy my ramen this week. I know so many realtors, and that is an experience I think one of our agents had last week because she had a listing that was under contract, and then they're contingent on buying, or they are under contract to purchase with a contingency on selling their listing. So it's been on the market, been under contract for a good month now, through inspections, through all of the dramatics to the part that usually is not dramatic, which is loan contingency. Although I feel like we've had a lot of dramatic loan contingencies lately. However,
all different reasons, but
yeah.
I mean, so
I just felt bad for the agent because she was really counting on the closing personally. And it's, I see it happen all the time. And sometimes you can't avoid it. You have to count on it personally. But it's just, if you can avoid counting on contracts that aren't closed personally, it's very much counting your chickens before you hatch. And then it's very difficult to stay calm
that's
and
the
motivated.
point. It doesn't mean don't
hopeful.
don't count on it, but
Right.
you can't react.
You
It
can't-
can't be about you.
Right. And I think that the perspective cannot be about you.
And
right?
that's where it goes south.
It's hard. Right.
Because now you got to be representing that buyer / seller, whatever they are, and not be thinking,
Right.
I've got to keep this alive or I can't pay the rent.
Right. And you miss
That can't be in
sometimes
there.
that your seller or your buyer either way has changed their mind. They don't want to buy a
Right.
house. They
And-
don't want to sell a house.
right.
And you are so dead set on selling them a house because you need the income, which I get. And I don't really get it. I should say I'm sympathetic to it. And I think we probably thought that when we first started out. But what is the difference? Like, which mindset?
I think I learned
right?
that
What's
right
the
away.
paradigm shift to avoid that from happening? Because I see so many realtors that are high, low, and when you bounce your emotions and your success rate and all of that in your own head, because at the end of the day, that's all it is. It's self-dialogue that, oh, I suck because they don't want to buy a house anymore. And like, that's not the truth at all. But how do you shift that paradigm to like, we expect to make an X number of dollars every month, but it's not really relevant to how many houses we sell, right?
Yeah, I think the mindset shift has to be that it's just not about you. I mean, like you can't make every deal. You have to always make it about the client. You have to always make it about their best interest. Your interests play nothing. And I think that we did it from the very beginning. Never made it about that. I mean, of course, there's days you go home defeated because you
Right.
couldn't keep a deal alive. But, you always say that it's not our job to keep the deal alive. It's our job to do what the client wants
Yeah.
us to do. And so sometimes deals need to die. Sometimes people need to change their mind. And, maybe it's not the right time for you to sell your house.
For the best interest of the client too.
That-
Sometimes
it's never your best interest, and that is hard. But it's a mindset.
takes me back to that. I mean, yeah, everybody was, surprised or whatever about. We had a client that went under contract, and then I know we told this story to the mom and dad, but I'm like, the mom and dad got involved, and it became very yucky. And then the kid was not. And he wasn't a kid; he was an adult. But
Right.
the client, the home buyer, wasn't getting what he wanted because there was other people influencing all of that. And I was like, I'm not doing this because this kid doesn't want to buy this house.
And I would. Well, the kid did want to buy the house.
Well, he did, but he wasn't able to.
This is the one where I called the mom and said,
Yes, and we did all of that, had all of those conversations. At the end of the day, I said, I'm not going to do it because I don't think that the kid can do it and be happy after the fact right now with the dynamic with the parents. And so I said that, and then, it just wasn't. It wasn't that he couldn't do it. It was that I wasn't the right person for him. And me saying that I'm not going to work with that client, everybody looked at me and went, you can't, And I'm like, I'm not saying he can't buy a house. I'm not saying anybody else can't represent him. I'm just saying I can't represent him because it doesn't, and it had to do with the dynamic. It didn't have anything to do with how much money, anything like that. But sometimes the best decision is to not represent a client.
And I know that we had another agent who had that one. But I do think that one's also a great example of being an advocate for your client. Because I know that was your reaction. My reaction was then to tell the mom maybe that wasn't right, but to call the mom and say, hey, your son wants to buy a house.
Right.
And the parents are influencing that. Maybe
Or not even influencing it, stopping it.
And I might not have been that direct, but
Yeah.
but that was the conversation that I had with the mom, and she was like, you know what, you're right.
Yeah.
It's none of our business. But then our agent also called that client and said, listen, I'll sell you a house. I'll be your agent if you do not take counsel from your mom and dad. And if you need your mom and dad to make the decision, you need another realtor.
Right.
And he was, she sold him a house. She probably has a lifelong client from it, but
Oh, I'm sure.
but she's also had another client that she showed houses for 2 years. And then she told them
Yeah.
after they got out of 3 different deals, she said, you need a new realtor.
Right. And I don't know about, this particular deal, but I do know the agent was devastated. But then here's the part of the whole thing. In 72 hours, it was probably the longest 72 hours of her life. But from the outside, watching it happen in 72 hours, the world ended, it restarted again, then it ended again, then it restarted again, then it ended again, and now we've restarted it again.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you just Take a beat and don't, one step at a time. That's what I always say. Like, you can't look at the end. You need to know where you're going, but you can't think you're already there. You have to complete each step in order and not get too involved.
And stop thinking how the client's going to react.
Right.
Because you don't know.
No.
They may be okay
I have
releasing
been
that.
floored by, yeah, exactly.
Well, he's going to say this and he's going to be, no, guess what? He wasn't.
Yeah.
But you don't bring that energy to the conversation.
Yeah, you can't. You have to give your clients facts when you present things.
Facts and choices.
Not opinions, right. And that is one of the things, that was evident. I could not believe my own husband sometimes surprises me in his reactions. We were selling Tea Party, one of our houses. And we got an offer. We took the offer. It had an inspection contingency. We had multiple offers when we took the offer. So it was a really good offer. But then they came in and they did that whole, we went way over to get the house under contract. And now we're going to ask for everything and your firstborn son to be done in the house, a lot of which were upgrades and, And he went, I wanted to counter because that's just my thing, right? That's how I always react. He's like, I don't want to deal with these people. Tell them to walk. I was like, what?
Right.
Okay. But at the end of the day, they walked. We got the house back under contract the next time with no inspection contingencies and flew right through to close. So it was like, what's meant to be will be for sure. You just got to keep focused, like you said, on the client and what they want.
The client, the contract, and the facts and choices. It's actually
so not new
quite
information,
straightforward,
but
right?
Reminder.
Yep.
Let's make sure that we're not putting our desires before the clients for sure.
And our emotions.
Yes. What is going on in real estate? What's going on in the news this week, Erin?
All right. In the headlines, neighbors in an uproar as historic Missouri home appears to be set to demolish.
Oh, the historic homes. I have mixed feelings.
Yeah.
About these kind of things.
Whether they should be
it's like
maintained or
I understand the premise of like wanting to save them.
It's just whose choice is it?
Right.
There's that.
Right.
I bought the house. It's my house.
Right.
Can I do what I want with it, or do you get to tell me what to do because it's historic?
Right. So this particular article is about the Keats Goresh house in Kirkwood. And the house was built in 1858. It is a locally designated landmark, according to the city of Kirkwood. I'm not sure, but so the city doesn't own the house.
No, he bought it fair and square.
Yes.
And he wanted to. He wanted to fix it up and then realized it was going to cost him too much money. So he said, I'm not going to do it. That made some residents in an uproar that it was historic. But I found it interesting that there really is no rule. It's not a rule. I think the way they described it, it's a speed bump, but it's not a stop sign. So the rule, what city is this, Kirkwood?
Yes.
The rule is they can stop you for 270 days. They can make you, they can postpone, and that's what they want you to do. And hopefully maybe you'll have a change of heart. But when that 270 days is up, you can do whatever you want to the house. And so that's what he did. And now the citizens, they're in an uproar because they don't like that. But that's the rule. Right. So he's within his rights. But you and I have had old houses.
They've been through the repair already. Ours were a little bit different because they weren't designated.
Correct.
Historic
But we understand the money that you could dump into.
Oh, God.
So it's going to be cheaper for him to not do that.
Yeah.
And his other argument, which is also fair, I've been showing houses in Webster Groves, and some of those they're not that old, but they're old, is those houses weren't designed for the way people want to live today.
No.
They have tiny kitchens. They have tiny bathrooms. They have no closets in the bedrooms. It was a different life in the 1800s. And so he's got to gut that.
Yeah.
to make it to where somebody wants to buy it, and it's no longer the
Well,
historic
he ain't
stuff
even
is
gonna
gone.
Got it. He's also got to restructure it.
Everything.
Yeah. The systems,
So-
everything like that. Which, if you're and that's what I say to the city, well, buy the damn thing if you're that concerned about it.
Or change your
there's-
rules.
There's what I was just looking here. How much did the house go for? How much did he buy it for?
I don't remember.
Let's see, 635,000.
Yes, $635,000, and there's 3,000 people have signed the petition on, or 2,000 have signed the petition on. So everybody buck up a couple of tens of $1,000s and buy the damn thing,
Well, I think he's still saying,
Or-
I'm not selling it. I want it.
or hush your butt.
Right.
I mean,
or go change the law.
At-
You could change the law in that city where you had to keep it.
It looks like they are trying that, and the judge is not handling that or not getting on board with that.
Well, they won't be able to change the law fast enough for this house.
No,
'cause the
I'm
law-
not sure. See, until the city purchases it or it's deeded to the city, I'm not sure they're ever going to be able to write a law that says you can't do something with a house you purchase. Like, unless somebody that owns it puts a deed restriction on it,
Right.
giving the city control over it, they're never going to be able to control what is done with the house.
Unless there's an historic title is the wrong word, label that it's given, and then when you buy it that it has this, and that there's actually teeth to the law that says you can't tear it down, you can't change this, you can't change that.
I don't think that's a
But
law,
that doesn't
though.
exist now.
It's a deed restriction,
Okay.
right? So at some point, somebody said, "I'm putting this house on the historic register." Like, that's how the historical society works. You can deed your house into the historical societies with a deed restriction, kind of like how HOAs have a deed restriction, right? They have rules about what you can and can't do with your house. It's the same thing. It's just the historical society manages those rules when you put that deed restriction on there.
The way that article read, that there were some areas where they have way tougher rules
Yeah.
that you can't do. And I guess it's the one thing that historic title gives it is the government or the city cannot take it. So if they're widening a road and a house deemed historic is in the way, they can't take it.
Right.
But
Well,
that's the
why
only.
that's why that house sits up there on 270 and 170 at the interchange. It cracks.
I never look.
me
I don't even notice
up.
it.
Next time you drive through, it's 270. You can really see it if you're going 270 north, right after the 170 interchange. Just north of that, there's this huge house. It's like an old mansion from back in the day, which it was built in the 1800s when the St. Louis suburbs were non-existent. So, but it's huge, and it's literally tucked on this piece of land in between the interchange.
Does somebody live there?
Nobody lives there,
But they can't
it's
take
a
it down.
museum
Oh,
now.
okay.
Like, it's been whatever donated, but it's one of those, and
What's
it
its
just
name?
makes me laugh. I wish I could remember. I'd have to look it up to tell you, but it
Now
just
I
makes
wanna
me
look it
laugh
up.
every time I go through there because I'm like,
All
because
right.
it's just so out of place in the
Yeah,
middle of everything, and
I'm sure I've seen it,
it just looks dumb or silly to me. I'm like, really? And nobody ever goes in it because it's impossible to get to. It's buried in the middle of an interstate exchange.
Wow.
It's weird. People are weird.
Any other news?
Reversing an urban doom loop in St. Louis through office to residential conversion.
That's a problem.
Yeah, I tried to read this article.
I think about it all the time when I'm in the city.
Times it just didn't click for me.
I guess my take on that is that whole, you see all these vacant buildings and you wonder why isn't somebody coming in and doing something with them? When I owned that apartment complex in South St. Louis, there was that old school next door. That was such a cool school. And I kept thinking, why doesn't somebody come in and buy that and do something with it? There's a lot more to it than that is the problem.
And I think the the loop is the part that got me in this headline, like reading for that, is we have tried that numerous times in St. Louis in our history, right? So St. Louis started as a river town that was largely shipping shit down to the ports in Mississippi, on the Mississippi River. from the farmers and stuff in Illinois and in Missouri and Indiana. Like we were the hub for that. Transportation was a big thing. This way we have a Grand Central Station or a Union Station and all of those kind of things in St. Louis. But people don't want to live in St. Louis for some reason. So like one of the things in the article was that the population it's actually shrinking and has been since then.
What? Yeah, maybe you could.
And so it's like we have all of this infrastructure from that world, and we've never done anything with it, to your point. But we have tried. Like, so when you go down on Washington,
Oh, right.
that is all now a residential street in downtown St. Louis. There are aside from the shops on the first floor, there are no businesses, manufacturing, large factories, anything.
Well, no,
like
that condo we went to sell was a manufacturing building that's now condos.
Because they have converted them all to lofts. They've lofted them all, right? So, but you can't sell one of those unless it's like
easily
perfect situation easily. So doing more of that is not going to work. But I don't know. It's just I think that's the whole point is the doom loop.
Yeah, I took the doom loop. Maybe I'm wrong. I took the doom loop as, so we had all this manufacturing because that's what the city was built on. And then we had all these office buildings because that was the way of the world.
No, and we were the central headquarters through that time of the world. And then when you had to meet in person. Now you don't.
And then as businesses started leaving, COVID was kind of like the
catalyst.
The last stab that killed us. But now you have all these buildings. So now all these big companies left. So now you have no revenue from these buildings. So there's no money in the city. And so that's that doom loop. But nobody wants to live there because there's no jobs and there's crime. And that's what I was reading as the doom loop.
It is the doom
Someone's
loop.
got to stop the madness.
Well, how do you stop it, though?
Right.
And what's interesting is me and Mikey were having a conversation because the data centers are all the rage nowadays. And I happen to be passing through that old manufacturing sector of St. Louis, which we call North St. Louis. So you have downtown and then you go, I don't know, 5-6 blocks north of downtown, and I mean it looks like a war zone. The buildings are crumbling, they're all boarded up, and they were like that. They've been like that.
Well, it didn't help when the tornado went through last year.
A tornado ripped through there last year. So like
it really does look like a war zone.
It's awful. I mean, like it's sad driving through there because there's such cool buildings and stuff like that. But me and Mike were like, while it's sad and all of those things, it's like there is a vast area of land right in the middle of city of St. Louis proper, right? Where the population of residents is slim to none. And there's a large pieces of land available. And I just, for the life of me, don't understand why, if we need to build data centers, which I believe that we do, given the trajectory with technology nowadays, like that's the manufacturing plant of this generation, right? Why are we not putting those data centers in that area? Like, everybody can say we're out here in St. Charles and we're fighting because they're too close to this house, and they're trying to build them all in these massively populated areas. Somebody go build a data center where there's a bunch of land that's not being used.
There's got to be a reason.
I just cannot, for the life of me, why have all these fights when we have all of that down there? And there are people that live there, and I don't want to displace people from their homes, but it's a small portion. And to be real honest with you, given the socioeconomics in those areas, they probably would be better off if we, as a community, picked them displaced up and moved them somewhere else. They would have to be displaced, but a lot of those people that live there, and I'm making a judgment here, but a lot of people that live in the areas that I'm talking about don't live there by choice.
But if go back to this article, what do you do with downtown?
That is downtown.
Well, I wouldn't consider that area that I'm talking about. That's 4 or 5 miles north. I'm just talking about actual downtown.
No, 4 or 5 blocks north.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking of the area where
You
we
go-
just had that listing. That's a little bit further. That's not in the center of downtown.
No, it's a little bit further north, but I'm talking about between that listing and that, which is in Midtown. It's not downtown, but that listing's in Midtown, right? There by the Fox and Grand Avenue and all of those.
Yeah.
I'm talking about south of that, between downtown and Midtown, all the way along the river, and probably a couple miles in, there's just empty manufacturing factories, one after the other.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's
those
few
buildings,
people that
some of those don't look salvageable anymore either.
no, they
it's
need
not
to be
like,
knocked down.
Yeah.
Like
They've
so
been vacant and abandoned for too long.
for
Those buildings.
decades. And
I think
it's
this
like,
was talking about those
know.
ones that have recently, but
Yeah, the office buildings. But the other one is the shopping malls. When you get out of downtown, the shopping centers in suburban America are the same way. We have in St. Peter's, it's Mid Rivers Mall. It's
Right.
massive amounts of land.
But you can't convert those to apartments because you don't have enough windows and you don't
Well,
have
you
enough.
could though. You can always add windows to a building and cut holes in walls like there. So it is possible. It's just not. You can't make any money doing it.
Right.
Is the reason that nobody does it.
Well, and it's
which-
massive spaces of
But with data centers, I
window.
would think that
Yeah, somebody
there's
needs
all
to come.
kinds of money to be made.
And there's a lot of malls to be had.
That's what I'm saying. Like we have all of these old and instead of trying to reuse or recycle or whatever, we just want to pick bare land and build a
Right.
data center on it. And so from that side,
'Cause it's
like, I
cheaper.
go back and forth. It's cheaper, but you from that side of the aisle, it's like, why would we ruin perfectly natural land when we've already put our humanistic footprint all over this and we're just letting it decay?
Yeah.
But, what do I know? Nothing.
I think that's a
was-
great point, actually.
Nothing. What the floop?
What the floop?
All right, what the floop did Chad or Annie do?
On one hand, do we have time for all the things?
Within the past week.
Oh, trying to think about what you did last
I'm
week.
trying to think
That
about
was
what
like,
you did, not me. Although I will tell a little funny story. I'm not sure if it's a what the floop, but we name houses internally so that we can remember them for years. Like we have the cat poop house.
When we write our book.
And so when I was talking to this client, I was going to show a property to him Friday. And he goes, I want to go back and see this one house that you showed me a while back. It's still on the market. And I could not think of the house. He just gave me the address. And he says, the one that you fell through the garage. And I got to laughing and I go, we will forever call this house the one that Annie
It's
fell
true.
through the garage.
Well, and you act.
And then
she
instantly
acts-
I knew which house he
Which
meant.
house you met, but it's also funny because you act like you don't fall a lot. Like I'm gonna have to put you're gonna have to get used
I do
to
not
wearing
fall a
some
lot.
oh, bullshit! Don't start with me.
I didn't fall.
Now, Erin, have you seen her fall
Once.
I have.
in
Once.
7 months?
Okay.
In the last 7 months,
You tell me how many times you've seen me fall in 20 years.
Oh, at least 5 or 6.
Oh, you have not. Name them.
In the parking lot
Okay, that's the last one.
at that house we were showing Nathan Seaton. You
Okay.
slipped on the ice and fell.
I did.
Okay, but you fell.
Okay, that's
and now
two.
we've got the garage with the
I didn't
Bookers.
fall. My leg went through. I literally went through the.
I don't know what you call it. That's called falling.
I didn't fall. I
It's
grabbed
falling.
onto him.
But you still
I was
lost.
falling, but I didn't fall. I got caught. Falling is laying down on the ground. Name another one.
I don't think that I'm going to agree with that definition
That
of
is
falling.
Name another one.
I'm working on it.
I fell one other time
We
in
were playing
a listing in the basement.
We were playing volleyball last
Oh,
week,
I
and your
did
ass
fall.
fell then. Trying to spike the ball,
I did fall.
just tripped over your own feet and went down.
I did.
So now I'm up to 4, and I don't even
4.
think I've made it through the last year. And we've known each other for 20 years. You fall a lot.
No, that's the only times I've fallen in the last 20 years. Those were the 4.
Okay, we'll go with that.
But anyway, I fell. So that is now the.
I want to know why. I want to know why the floop. You can't stop falling. That's what I want to know.
I can stop falling. I only fell 4 times. But I did learn that you cannot name houses in the presence of the clients.
Oh, yeah?
Because I named the one house, there was a snake skin. There were like 3 snake skins. And I go, we're going to call this the snake house. And he goes, well, now I can't buy it.
Whoops.
And I was like, no. Just kidding. It's just in the yard.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway.
I had that. I had I don't know. I remember thinking with the floop several times last week, but you know how you think like,
So
and then it flies out of your head. But
this is speaking of falling. I didn't tell you this story at the dance competition.
now we're gonna get up to 5 times in the last 2 weeks.
No, it's not me.
Here it comes.
It was my power to make someone else fall. So you know Ted Jackson.
Is this a new power that you've
I know.
discovered
Listen,
you have?
listen, it's awful. I had to apologize because I felt so guilty. So Ted is a choreographer that works at the dance studio. And he was at the competition, and the teachers take their kids backstage and they put them on stage, and then they got to run out to the front, and there's a teacher row so they can come out and watch. There's a safe seat for them. Well, Ted had on like Palooza pants with like the wide leg and the high heel boots, and he had on a hat, and he's very stylish. I just knocked my thing up.
Palooza.
You know, like wide legs.
I don't think those are Palooza pants.
What are they called? Palooza.
I'm gonna look up that word, but go ahead, finish your story.
So Ted came running to see the dance, and the dancers were already on, and the music started. And I thought in my head, "Oh Lord, please don't fall!" And with that, he wiped out like he was sliding into home plate in front of all those kids. He's like 6 feet tall. And he had to jump up real quick and sit in the seat, and everybody acted like it didn't happen, and I couldn't quit laughing.
You're just not Palooza at all.
Let me see. Yes,
Show
an
the
extravagant large scale.
Show your screen.
It's not. You got to look at Palooza pants, not just Palooza. Look at Palooza pants.
Is this it?
Yes, that's exactly what he was wearing. Those are Palooza pants. All right.
He looked very fashionable in his
He's
Palooza
very
pants.
fashionable.
I'm still dying to see what Palooza pants are. I can't see your screen. Maybe I have some Palooza pants.
No, you do not.
I don't?
You have never worn them since I've known you.
That's pretty much my life. You would have been safe.
You think that if your pants aren't totally fitted, they're Palooza pants, but they're not. Did you find a picture?
No, because when I put in that, it came up. Google is undergoing this whole AI sync change right now. It's driving me crazy. I can't.
You can't
find
really see her
anything.
screen?
I'm an old millennial. I just want my Google back. I knew
And how
to
does
talk.
it feel?
I knew.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be a whole
knew
episode.
How to talk to Google and get the answer I wanted. Now I got to relearn how to talk to Google because Gemini is like all up in there, and I'm like, I just want to.
I would like
what
a
I've always
public
typed.
apology.
I'm getting old. I know that.
No. I would like a public apology
For?
when I like the way old things work and I don't want to shift to the new, and you say, you just need to get on board. This is how it is.
Well, that's still true. Why would I apologize? I need to get on board. It's how it is.
But now you know how I
be
felt.
happy about
Remember
it.
when I wanted my flip phone back?
I always know how you felt. I just like to make fun of you because you want to know who else had a flip phone until the day he died? My grandfather.
I've moved on. I just
I'm
miss the
aware.
old way, but you don't. You make fun of me when I miss the old way.
Because new things are fun.
Well, bye-bye, Google.
It's not going bye-bye. It's just different now.
Bye-bye, different Google.
Bye-bye, Annie. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
All right, that's a wrap on another week of chaos, closings, and questionable decisions.
If this episode made you laugh, think, or text your real estate bestie like, girl, this is us, do us a favor.
Hit that subscribe button, leave a quick review, follow us on socials, or send us your own unhinged real estate stories. Seriously, we want to share them.
And hey, don't just survive this week. Get out there and build your business.
You've got everything it takes.
We'll be back next week with more chaos and more clarity.
Until then,
Keep waking up to win.